Just
Good
get
afternoon
it.
to all of you. Today's session, we have a theme for building logistics, digital infrastructure, and automation in railways. Well, to begin with, let us focus on the three very important policy framework. The first one, PM's Gati Shakti, for integrated implementation of the infrastructure projects for seamless connectivity and travel, transport, intermodal transport seamlessly. The second one is National Rail Plan. Already in keynote address, some targets were mentioned. The Government of India's policy, intermodal systems, they should be developed keeping in view the capacity requirement for 2050. So the capacity enhancement projects should be ahead of the demand so that there is no shortage. The third one is National Logistics Plan. The India average cost of the logistics comes around 14-15%, whereas in most of the developed countries, the logistic cost is less than half. So these are the three key areas of policy framework where Government of India has already laid down the plans and which are pending. DFC is one of them for solving these problems. And also the digital infrastructure, which is making the seamless communication transmission, especially the 16 key ministries which have been identified as a part of the national plan, Gati Shakti plan. So coming back to our theme of building logistics, first of all we will start with Mr. Pankaj Saxena, who has already highlighted involving all aspects of the projects, the technology and the plans. And our first question is, the DFCIL now has achieved a milestone of running 1 lakh trains in total on the routes. They have gained some big experience now of the operation. Especially the DFC, if you see that DFC has changed the Indian Railways working, where first time it is in history of the railways that there will be only freight train running, no passenger train. And passenger train will perhaps have more space for them. So what is your experience of so far, and what kind of challenges we have faced in the operation and maintenance, and how the technology which you adopted has been able to solve these challenges? Mr. Saxena now.
Hello. With commissioning of about 1,000 kilometers in last year, perhaps our appetite of train has increased further, because what stage we are at present is what NHAI was about 30 years back. I remember there were only two major highways in the country first. One was Delhi to Agra, like expressway, and Mumbai to Pune. So now we see that we are very near to the tipping point. After those two highways, a lot of time was spent in constructing third and fourth and fifth highway. Now what is happening is our reality. So the basic challenge which we are facing today is to satisfy ourselves. When we run 30 trains, we feel why we are not running 50 trains. When we run 50 trains, we feel why we are not running 70 trains. So this is the basic challenge, and mostly the challenges which you are feeling are the human-centric challenges. Because what happens when the longer beats of the crew are given, then naturally their changing points increase, their way of taking rest increase, their way of taking rest changes rather, and their length increases. So for them, this is the entire different logistic game now. So we have tried to facilitate to the maximum our crew, because their rest is our prime concern, and we are giving all possible helps for their faster changeover and their proper logistic arrangements. Second challenge which we are facing is, since we have very long stations, as I told in the address also, in railways we used to have, after every 4-5 kilometers there is a gate or some station. So we were there to visually check all the trains while they are on run, and if there is any shortcoming in the train, we have to take care of that. But since now we have no level crossings, stations are also quite apart. So this hot axle box detection system, which is very, very effectively being used, and we are, as I told you, we are going to develop this MVIS also, which will be detecting hanging part. So with the help of these technological inputs, we are able to largely mitigate our problems which we are facing. Thank you. And the human part also, we are sure that we will be getting adjusted to the new system, and we will be seeing new heights in future.
Thank you. You have early pointed out in your keynote address, one of the challenge railways is facing is the rail share. Whatever is the industry's demand for transportation, the rail share is not going up in the same proportion the way the transporter needs are increasing. So what do you think, how the freight operation will be made sustainable, and what major initiatives railways have taken to improve the logistics and infrastructure scenario in the country, especially the impact on the coal transportation and containerization, because containerization, the international export demand has increased, and the movement demand is from all the, whether it's from Delhi to Mundra Port, Kandla Port or JNPT, all these sectors, there is a sudden increase in the demand, and accordingly the railways and especially DFC plays a very important role. So how we are going to address that?
We are basically banking upon our connectivity reach, the faster mode of travel, and connectivity to the all industrial hubs where we are likely to get these things. Like we have, by connecting Sonnagar, we have already connected with the major coal mines of Jharkhand. We are already running longer trains, and our biggest strength will be faster delivery. Our biggest strength will be faster delivery and less expensive. Suppose we are able to carry a train from, say, Sonnagar to now Dadri, which used to take about 60 to 70 hours earlier. Now if we are able to take them in 20 hours, 22 hours, then our whole of the turnaround of the wagons increases. In brief, we can say we will require lesser crew, we will require lesser locomotives, we will require lesser rolling stock, and the entire network is electrified. So our transportation costs will also be substantially lower. Our sustainability will also help in, lowering the carbon footprints of our overall transportation system. So I think we are well equipped with the movement of coal in the country. We can deliver these things to anywhere, any place very fast. All our stations are available for goods shed operation. We can operate any station as a goods shed. We are developing lot of multi-logistic parks, the industrial hub, very near to Delhi. We have in Dadri, we have in Dabla. We are developing one new one in Kanpur, near Kanpur. We are developing one near Gulavati, which is near Khurja. So we will be having all these logistics places. We have started new services also. Recently we introduced a parcel service also from Rewari, and we are already running truck on train. So all kind of transportation, as far as container is concerned, I have already said that we are equivalent to almost 4 trains of Indian Railways in one train. So all these things will largely have the impact on faster mobility as well as lowering the logistic costs. So I think, this is a self-sustaining system, we say.
Okay. So now let us move to the second question. On the track modernization side on the Indian Railways, Mr. Qazi, the question is to you. How can building green infrastructure projects benefit Indian transition to a decarbonized economy? Please share your views.
Hello. Well, you have raised the issue of decarbonization. Here I would like to mention that today we have been reading that temperature of 53 degree has reached due to the global warming at Spain. In that perspective, we have got only one Earth and one future. So, not only Indian Railways, but there is a vision of zero net carbon by 2070, and by 2030, we propose to have our 50% of the energy resources by renewable energy sources. So here, I would like to mention that since India has been progressing at the highest pace in last 2 decades all over the world, and we have got millions of people to be raised over the poverty line. Almost London is being added every year to our urban population. So we have got our transportation, their transportation needs, building needs, energy needs. So giving that onerous, that huge target, that requires our dependence on oil and fossil fuel. But in that process, India has suddenly become 3rd largest producer of carbon dioxide in the world. So that is a challenge. But given in other perspective is that per capita carbon utilization is still among the lowest in the world, and per capita energy consumption in India is 1/10 that is in US household consumption. So here our Honorable Prime Minister has given immediate target that renewable energy resource, we have to bank upon it. And the target is by 2030, we need to have 500 gigawatt of renewable energy production, and around 45% of the conversion to renewable energy source, and 1 billion reduction in the carbon emission. Now, we are already on a very strong footing as far as these are concerned. We have made a great headway in solar as well as this wind energy resources. We have got huge bioenergy production capacity, as well as in ethanol based production. We are already among the first 3 countries in the world after US and Brazil. So, but here again, the problem that remains is that the cost of energy is a little bit high, it is unmanageable. The reliability of the power is quite low, and Indian cities are still among the most polluted polluted cities in the world. So given that challenge, government has also come up, which also encompass railways, that they are the subsidy on fossil fuel, that is oil and petrol, the fossil fuel that has been withdrawn. There has been further subsidy on electric vehicle from 2019. There is a greater emphasis for household use of fuel among the, at a greater part of the urban as well as rural landscape. And there is a greater reliance for production of hydrogen, the storage batteries, and for reduction in greater use of the renewable energy source. Here, the vision which is there for 2030, for that to be achieved, and that vision, if that is of net carbon reduction to zero, net carbon emission to zero by 2070, we need to invest about $160 billion each year up to 2030. Now this is, this requirement is about 3 times than what we are investing. So we need to have a greater help from the world at large as well as from the participation of the private sector. So the way ahead, which is as good for Indian Railways, is that greater reliance not only for replacement of the fossil fuel by renewable energy, but also generation of new energy from the sources which are environmental friendly. So we have been working, and India has already taken leads in hydrogen production and use of it, and it is estimated that about 5 million tons of hydrogen capacity, we are very close to achieving that capacity, and that will wipe out about 28 million tons of carbon dioxide. So these, along with the other renewable energy resource, emphasis on solar, wind power, biomass utilization, ethanol and all, that is going to change the landscape.
Thank you, Mr. Qazi. Now let us move to another area of our technology partners and what they have to say. We have now Tribhuvan Darbari, Managing Director, a very long association with railways and transport system. First, we would like you to share with us your footprint of Texmaco on Indian rail sector. What all projects you are involved in?
Hello, yeah. Thank you for the question, and my esteemed co-panelists and distinguished audience here. I think all of you are aware, Texmaco Rail and Engineering Limited is one of the flagship companies, heavy engineering manufacturing companies of the $3.5 billion Adventz group, which has been in existence for almost now 8 decades. And we are one of the leaders in the freight wagons. And of course, there have been swings of ups and downs, and today we are in a very comfortable position as a company, and the credit goes to the visionary leadership of our group chairman, Mr. Saroj Poddar, who was earlier the president of FICCI as well. And the way he has structured the whole group is something, it's a big learning. Even at this age, one learns every day from him. That's it. That's his vision. And the way the fertilizer, we are also incidentally the largest producers of fertilizer in the country. Zuari Agro Goa, Paradeep Phosphates, and Mangalore Chemical Fertilizers and so on. But the way the entire thing has been structured, revamped, and now looking up, I think that's what is very important. We have recently got a very big order, about 20,000 wagons, almost 6,500 to 7,000 crores, and we are on the job executing it. In the meantime, there are some global tie-ups we have done, joint ventures, especially with the Slovak company, where we have formed a joint venture where a big rolling stock opportunity is there, and we, being very keen on Make in India, are getting the technology to India. We have 5 factories in Calcutta, and we are setting up a center there with the Slovak technology. Slovaks, Hungarians, Polish, Czech, they are pretty good, and you know it better than I do. They're very, very good in technology. So the other thing is that we are also, besides this, we are, I think it's almost 30 to 35% of growth rate we are seeing now. And with this, we are also thinking of getting into from freight to passenger mobility. And there are a few tie-ups we have done. Earlier it was with the Russian companies, 2-3 good technology. Russians are very good in technology, incidentally. And somehow they have not been able to penetrate the market even in the rail maintenance and the track maintenance business. But I know what Sinara is and what PTK is. The very robust, cost-effective technologies they have. And we have tied up with some companies and getting into track maintenance, which is coming in a big way, and the OHE maintenance as well. So there are a few initiatives we are taking to diversify into other segments. And I think we have a great future in the sense that the earlier vision of integrating the rolling stock manufacturing with EPC, OHE, end-to-end solutions company, I think that's what is very important, to have a very strong common platform with good technology, the latest in technology, state-of-the-art technology. For instance, I'll give you an example that we are now setting up a center for excellence for manufacturing in Kolkata, the headquarters. So there are a lot of initiatives which we are taking in terms of imbibing new technologies, state-of-the-art technologies from the OEMs, so that we could further the whole vision of Make in India and Atmanirbhar Bharat, and be proud of this great group, the KK Birla Group. Earlier it was only Birlas and Tatas. And so we want to revive that stature of this group in that way. Thank you.
Thank you. Now let us come to the technology part. My next question is to Mr. Vijay Devnath, DGM Infra Security. We are seeing new technologies such as artificial intelligence being increasingly used in the industries world over. What potential do they have in the railway sector? Because in Indian Railways especially, this is still at maturing, and in different departments are working. But what is the reality, what is the future, and how we can take forward these projects? What is your views on that?
Thank you, sir, and good afternoon to all of you. Post-lunch sessions are very difficult to handle. So, coming back to the technology part, as you all know that technology does not, exist in isolation. It is always a people-process technology thing which we talk about. Small input on where the technology is going in railways, particularly the artificial intelligence and all, is that we are trying to use it to get into the predictive maintenance and prediction of demand, that is traffic demand, both passengers, goods, and even parcel, etc. There are a lot of projects going on, a lot of companies are participating. They are running POCs or pilots with railways. Railway itself is also running so many initiatives with the help of academic institutions, etc., etc. But while doing all this, these are not, you said what are the issues, problems and all. So I will come to those now. because there we need a real help from all the parties involved, including the railways. I talked about people process technology. Now, artificial intelligence is nothing but data and models. So models are built by mathematicians or the PhDs in data science, and data is generated by the field operations. There we have certain issues. One is that the PhDs or the academic institutions, they have no idea about how the data is to be collected and where from it is to be collected and what the conditions are. Why there are gaps in the data sometimes which they complain about. And on the field side, we find that there is a tendency to dress up the data to reach some immediate objective. You know what I mean to. And that messes up the integrity of the data. While we take a lot of care to, protect the data coming from field to the systems and then getting stored with all sorts of encryption and all that, which is my field, of course. But when the data coming from the field or being collected at the field is not correct, then there is no use running any kind of model on that data. So the two issues which I am highlighting is, one is the data collection efficiency and second is the data quality. And these can be improved by helping the field offices or the field collectors by having good quality master data, which can help them avoid errors into data feeding, etc., which then come and show up in the analytics part of it, Then another thing is that we start focusing too much on data security and how data will be stolen and all that. There this is my personal view, may not be echoed by others, is that railways is a unique business in India. They do not have a competitor, internal competitor. That's different that DFC and main railways keep on competing each other, but that is a healthy competition to increase the traffic share. But outside, nobody is waiting to steal our data and to use it for something which is inimical to us. There may be some enemies outside the country and all that who wants to disrupt our operations, but the data is not so much prone to theft. It is prone to lot of integrity issues where we need to protect ourselves. As we all know that if your pathological report is wrong, no doctor can, make you healthy. He cannot prescribe any medicines which can cure you. So we have to ourselves look into how well and how integral way we can collect our data. Last point I want to mention is that the people who are supplying data collection devices, I will call them IoT later, but most of the sensors, etc., which we have deployed on the various systems, including track, wagon, coaches, locomotives and all that, they need to have few things integrated into them. Just having a sensor in place somewhere and start collecting data is of no use. Unless and until that data is, that device is calibrated frequently, maybe every day, then the data being sent by that device is cross-verified with similar device kept somewhere else, like the temperature sensors or the traffic sensors or the wheel impact detectors and all that, because no device is failure proof. everything fails sometime or the other. And with the kind of extreme weather conditions, extreme climates, the devices are bound to fail. But we should have some fallback arrangement of those devices and to get the data by some other means, because if there are gaps in the data, our analytics will fail or the analytics will be incomplete. They will give you wrong results and you will be going in the wrong direction in your prediction, etc. Thank you. Sorry, sir, for taking so much time.
Thank you, Mr. Devnath. I think on artificial intelligence, a lot needs to be done together. And this is not only here in railway network. World over, the technology is still maturing, especially in the railway field application. And maybe on the same topic with Madam Rashmi, if you can add something. Madam Rashmi is global head from Railway Strategy Institute, TCS. So maybe on AI, because it's all modeling and interface with the users, what is your view?
Say that again.
On the artificial intelligence application in railways, what is your view? What are the areas where some work can be done?
Sure.
And some
So we've
projects?
just heard about AI and what are the areas that, in the predictive maintenance and other cases that sir has talked about. As we see AI, it is the senses, 5 senses that all of us humans have applied to build products. And then, the processes and industries have evolved, right? So, AI, in our opinion, is a science that's helping not only, automation of tasks we have already seen. AI is now helping to different stakeholders, to all of us in our day-to-day lives, to do a better decision making, right? So where, human cognition, there was a dependency on the human cognition and a lot of subjectivity was there. So that is where it is augmenting decision making, whether it is planners, whether it is, anybody who is performing a task, who is making a decision. So, as we see, AI is playing a very crucial role in different use cases, in different applications that even railways have, from the assets availability perspective, condition-based monitoring to predictive-based monitoring, which ultimately helps in maximizing the asset availability, reducing the asset maintenance cost, which based on our study, consumes almost 40% of the revenue to maintain those critical assets. So that's around the assets. Planning is another part where long-term tactical, long-term strategic planning for traffic, capacity analysis, tactical planning, and how to really manage delays and disruptions, to put the traffic in order. Automated planning systems, that's where AI models, we are also experimenting, we are also participating in some of the work in this space with various partners in Europe, have already, proven a point where more train services in a given capacity can be suggested. So system automates all of that and then provides suggestions to decision makers, to planners, with various options. So these are really very important applications in our opinion in the assets and operations planning space. That's our view in these two.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. Kasturi Srinivas, Business Development Manager from Bentley. Please share with us your present footprint of Bentley system on Indian Railways and also the new technology which is very important for the construction or project management. Now you see in the railways a large number of projects are coming up. You've seen the dedicated freight corridor, similarly many more for railway station development projects. So project management are very important today, and we have to, the way we want to change these systems, we have to change the implementation system also, monitoring system also. So what do you think, what are the new technologies like BIM and 5G transpiration, how we can really benefit in Indian Railways or our project managements, and also reduce the cost or improve the designs for better performance?
Yeah, thank you, sir. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for the opportunities. I represent Bentley Systems, and primarily we are into infrastructure software development. That's where actually what we do. And like sir talked about the project management, it's a very, very critical aspect. I think probably I'll dwell more on project control than on the project management. There are decent software technologies available if you want to do any project management, but I think one of the cost overruns and time overruns and things like that. So what we're saying is that, like sir really talked about the data which should comes from really from the site has to be really good and correct actually, and that basically the information should actually come back and then rolled up in different forms. One area we're really working specifically on building information modeling, and again in the combination with the project control. That's where actually we're focusing a lot. Where we're talking about everything is interrelated. For example, if there is an inspection needs to be done and or a project progress needs to be entered into a system, everything has a ripple effect on the project progress. For example, suppose I am expected to pour an X cubic meter of concrete and it's not done on the site, then obviously it should link back to my work breakdown structure and go back to my master schedule and things like that. Especially when we talk about complex projects like metros. So you will have the procurement itself, will have a large number of contractors working in different packages, let alone, but again, the disciplines also very different. Everybody, different consultants, contract work together, which means that you should have the ability to aggregate all schedules together, at the same time get the feedback from the ground in making sure is my really project is actually progressing well or not. Okay, that's something, in the technology we really deployed at Delhi Metro and few other places as well, where the data will be collected on the ground, and then and everything is basically interrelated and tied to schedule. Everything is actually tied to schedule. So thereby you're looking at the predictability in terms of each project and things like that. So of course that's one aspect about it. When you really look at project management, really boring when you really look into the Gantt charts and things. They look very boring. So what we try to do is that we link back to the 3D models, like we have a asset breakdown structure, a work breakdown structure, a cost breakdown structure. All of them actually being tied together in a manner, so you're able to look at the project progress more visually in nature. For example, because schedule is simulate the schedule how the project is progressing. Because most of the time, what happens is that different rates have to work in the same place. But again, you need to, the moment you see it more visually, it's more effect. At the same time, you're able to get the progress on the ground. That also you can see it in the 3D model. Again, that also have to work in a, what we call a browser-based interface. That makes it more easier. And it has to work on a simple mobile tool. Right, that's I think that's where where the technology is we've been doing it. 5G of course is really helpful in the sense that because we're talking about 20 GB speed and that kind of speeds, collaboration, coordination, especially collaborating on using 3D models on the web. 5G definitely is helping us to basically stream the models, style the models in a manner we're able to visualize things much more faster, collaborate together. And most of the times, the access to drawings and models on the site, the latest models has to be available on the site. That also availability is also the speed of network is also really enabling people to do that. That's the kind of things we're trying to do. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Kasturi. I think our time is up. We can conclude how the railway infrastructure is coming up with modern technology, with very high productivity, and AI and BIM modeling kind of concept are coming up. A lot of data management is required, where the users and industries both have to learn together before we can really take full benefit of the artificial intelligence technology. The AI is basically the buzzword, but it has so many different components, and where the technology need to be integrated in a manner that it really gives the benefits. And railway, because the railway is a very safety conscious, and the reliability of the data is very important, right from the sensor or whatever ways you are capturing the data. So we will now close the panel part, discussion part, and invite the audience. If they have any questions, we can take 2 questions.
Hello. Question from Mr. Pankaj Saxena. What is the average speed of goods train on the DFCs today?
We are getting about 55 to 60 kmph speed on average. And the main reason up till now was we were having shorter runs. So we had to take after every 300, 400 kilometers the trains from railways and then hand over to them. But as I mentioned, now we have a continuous stretch of about 800, 900 kilometers on eastern corridor and equal amount about on western corridor. So our train speeds are going to increase further. As of now, we are getting about 55 to 60 kmph. This is average speed I am saying. Moreover, one more thing I will say, the same train which runs on a lower speed at Indian Railways, the maximum permissible speed I am talking about, is able to run on higher speed on our network. Like if I say CC plus 8 plus 2 train, we can run at 75 kmph on our network, whereas the same train on Indian Railways runs at about 60 kmph. Similarly, there are a few more trains which are in empty direction. They are running at 75 kmph on Indian Railways, and we are running at 100 kmph.
How many running at 100 kmph? What percentage?
About, we can say about 30% overall. The trains are capable of running at 100 kph on our network.
One last question.
Yeah, hello. Good evening, sir. Hello. So this side. My name is Ashish Apte. I have a question for Darbari sir. When Texmaco is getting into this kind of JVs and bringing in better partners from outside India, are we also looking for some change of metals, maybe lighter metals, and thereby reducing the axle weight on the wagons so that we can carry more freight on the same design wagons?
Yeah. It goes without saying, when you're talking about overall technology upgrade, so it has to be integrated. All these efforts are integrated. And we are looking for such upgrades when we talk to the OEMs and when we are establishing the production centers here. So what you're saying is absolutely right. That is on our agenda. That's one. And second thing is that, for instance, I was talking about new design, freight wagons. Now, for what Mr. Saxena is creating for the country, I mean, you require high-speed wagons. And we are, for instance, getting into a JV with Ural Wagon. They are very good in the design, the state-of-the-art wagons. So we are trying to talk to them and to see if we can have a center for excellence, a joint center for excellence, where all these issues are dealt with on a common platform with integrated technologies, and see how we can improve the overall the product. That's it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.